Yeah, not the best solid reception there, lad, but we could still hear you good
Uh,
enough.
okay. Yeah, I have minimal cell data out here.
Waiting for that Starlink, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I'm not very confident in that Starlink either. You need plenty of upload speed for what I do, and I just don't see the
You
numbers
just
yet.
add more than one, though, right?
You aggregate a couple of Starlinks together.
That's right,
Well,
we're
I'm
bonding.
back. YouTube.
But yeah, we're looking at Starship, right?
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed.
So, lad, you're 3.8 miles from Starship is what we found.
Yes.
You're so
Yes,
close.
Yes, we're. I mean, we are literally just a couple of 100 yards away from the new hard checkpoint. They've moved the new hard checkpoint over from LBJ Boulevard out there where we usually see it, and it's moved about 2 miles to the west of Stargate. And we can see the road closure right here. Like I said, it's just a couple 100 yards away.
This is basically based on where this thing could end up if it loses control, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or where debris
Yes.
could end up if they have to use those flight abort, flight termination system.
Mm-hmm. The danger zone that the FAA configured on their maps is about a mile east of us towards the shipyard. So we're well outside of the danger zone, but we're very close to the actual.
Hello, Boca Chica. This is Thomas with you.
Said hello.
We have Lab Padre and with us Scott Manley and our friendly Scotty.
Hello.
Hello.
Now that's going to confuse people, isn't it? There's two Scotties.
Yeah, but we both have completely different accents, and no American
yes.
will confuse our accents.
I know, of course. Well, to clear up, I'm from Yorkshire, as many people know.
I'm from Scotland. I'm from Ayrshire.
With us, Scott Manley. So yeah, with us, of course, we do have Lab Padre in the background here. Hey, Lab, how are you doing?
Yeah. Excellent, excellent. Thank y'all very much. And of course, I'm from South Padre Island, Texas.
Hilarious.
So, what do y'all think about? What do y'all think about the wings up on top on the nose wings being closed up right now? Is that the way they're gonna launch it?
I think they folded those out yesterday at t=0, so I'm pretty sure they're going to fold them out again. I think
Okay.
FAA will have very strict restrictions on the configurations allowed. They've planned everything out. So I don't know why those are folded in right now. It might be just a neutral position that's least amount of stress during, vertical. But yeah, no, they'll fold those out when the time comes.
Yeah, it does make sense. That might be like the resting position that it's in now. Safety, because if it's windy, you're less likely to get damage if it's like folded in like that.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
But oddly enough,
Yeah, we'd also have the, as we mentioned earlier, the satellite dishes have rotated. They're pointing at the vehicle, which probably also means that the quick disconnect system is basically ready to be deactivated, and it's communicating wirelessly through it. What else are they doing there?
have we still got that noise from yesterday?
I don't know, I turned it off.
Yeah, we don't have that. So yesterday we had like a buzzing sound, but I've
yes,
just
it was very frustrating.
Okay, so I found out what that was, and I think I found out what that was. I made some changes last night to some settings on the system, and it was a difference between what was it, 16,000 not 16,000 kilohertz and
16 kilohertz.
48,000. Yeah, it was
48.
no, no. Yeah, we went from 16K to 48K on the encoding of the audio, and that just nipped it.
Oh, interesting. It might actually be like a beat frequency or something based on that number. Anyway, yeah. But yesterday, you guys obviously watched this thing count down to 0. Did any of you also have the SpaceX stream up at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
When we do the 10 minutes, like the 10-minute silence, we basically it's for us for the crowd and for us to watch both streams, both ours and SpaceX. At the same
yes. When SpaceX has a stream, but yeah, I thought it was it was a first that we actually got to see the skirt camera pointing at the engine during Raptor ignition, or except non-ignition in this case.
Yeah,
we actually got to see, because previously, you know, we've seen them take flight, and then we see the view once it's already lit and stable. The previous times we've seen Raptor.
They were first firing the Raptor. They had ice forming, didn't they? And then they resolved that, so it can't have been that again.
It can be in a different way, you know. There's the thing is, when you're working with any technical problem like this, is you're as much pushing the problems around as you are solving them. Okay. Sometimes you think you solved the problem and you just push it into a different part of your process.
We are back. I'm back, and I don't want to hear all this British shit. Hello YouTube. Hello Facebook. Hello Twitter. And this is Delphine. Yeah. Okay. We are here at the launch pad in Boca Chica, and we can see the launch pad have been closed. Now they're moving the wing. Oh, it's fun. So they are trying to have control of the spacecraft. So we can see the one on the top, two on the top are already been folded, and the one in the back on the end are being folded on the left side. Now it's only the right side who's going to be folded before it will be launched. And that's one. We are now 18 hours GMT, 6 o'clock, 3 minutes past 6, and it's 12 o'clock on Boca Chica. This is the second flight attempt. Det er andet forsøg. Så lad os se. Og skal jeg gå ind og skrive lidt? Eller skal vi bare høre de der?
On the camera, on the blast glass and everything.
Oh, we could give that
there was
a try.
mysterious words on the sky yesterday, and people were like, "What was that?" And it was reflections from the lens, the writing around the lens, and apparently the engineer at Hawthorne requested that somebody go up and black that out with a Sharpie. And so it looks like they might have been doing that today.
we did see them going up around Hopper and doing some things there. As we also know exactly where each of the cameras are. We've seen the locations and which one was that they were working on? Do you know?
I don't know. I just saw that there were. It was the one on Hopper, as far as I remember.
Okay, so Hopper itself then. Wow.
Yeah, I did see them do that this morning when I was meant to be working, but intently watching the stream.
A lot of employees not working today. Just a little break, you know.
Yeah. Well, isn't it the Christmas? Gotta slack a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you don't know what it's like working at a rocket startup that's run by somebody that came out of Silicon Valley. Right?
Oh, madness.
Like, we have insane work ethics. I say work ethics. No, we're always on a death march.
Yeah. March until you drop, basically.
Yeah. Well, yes. For some reason, I actually can't find. Oh, there we go. I couldn't find SpaceX on YouTube for some reason. It was not popping up. Yeah, they still haven't refreshed the flight test, so I don't know if they're going to reuse that stream or pop up a new one.
They'd have to make a new stream because they already used that one.
Yeah, okay, you guys would probably know then.
Yep. They tend to update the website as well. Like on the website itself, there was a watch now button even before it was on the thing.
We get both flaps now retracted. So yeah, they're testing those to make sure they work. I hope that they move faster in flight. I don't know how fast these things can move, but
we've talked about that, Scotty. You know, or Scott, like you said, how they're moving right now.
That's actually pretty fast, but
it's relatively fast, but it's not nearly as fast as the grid fins. Right?
Yeah,
I would assume they need to move as fast as grid fins move. So it's interesting.
Yeah, we've seen these move about as fast as 5 meters a second in the past. They can move wicked quick.
It's gonna be Buzz Lightyear falling with style, so you're not exactly got to flap them, I suppose.
But yeah, I mean, you are going to have to anticipate oscillations, and you got to move faster than a certain rate to stop, to be able to damp certain oscillations.
Og så er jeg, vi ser her, nu er begge vinger lukket, og det er i fly mode, fly mode, og jeg tror, vi er begyndt at få nedtællingen. Det er 2 timers nedtælling, vil jeg tro. Vi ved så lidt. Pad er clear. Og hvad så? Road is closed. Ja, it stands up there in the left corner. Here, this corner, road, cross it, path is clear, det er checklist. Så det er fint nok. Velkommen. Ja, velkommen Facebook. Welcome everybody. Jeg går lige ind og vi skal jo have lidt sjovt her. Jeg går lige ind her. På mig livestream. Og siger noget. Hi all. Og det er det. Og her er vi tilbage igen. Og jeg skal nu allerede få sekunder. Måske en 10 sekunder forskel fra der er udført på OBS, og til det bliver set på telefonen. Men det går endnu hurtigere på livestream. Så det er det. Lad os se, hvor længe de siger over den anden kanal. De siger 44 minutter. Og på SpaceX siger de 48 minutter. Så det ser jo godt noget ud. De regner med... Ja. Det er lige før han kommer for sent i gang, ham der. Overlook. Lad os prøve at se, om det er mig, der er... Om man bare... Nej, han viser det samme. 43. Han kommer sent i dag. PM. Local time. Og hvad har vi her? 2 PM. De mener, der er 2 timer tilbage. Ja. Det kan da også godt være. Jeg håber, I fik spist. Det gjorde jeg, så det var godt nok. Så mangler jeg bare at drikke en masse vand. Og noget kaffe. Der er ikke mere. Så. Ja, hele tiden. Ja. Sådan der. Så er det overstået. Lidt opad. Ja. Det er lidt koldt. Ja. Så er det det. Nå. Skal vi høre nogle andre? Lidt om det, vi er på.
It just would be a very, very expensive process. It would probably be easier for them to give it enough of a kick to put it into a higher orbit, a storage orbit, where it could last for a lot longer.
Use
Space museum in space.
use iron thrusters and send it to the moon. Why not?
Yeah, you know, you would still need a lot. So back in the early days, well, back around 2010, they were still talking about putting what's the name of the engine? Shoot, it was a magnetic plasma thruster that Franklin Chang Diaz was working on. I forget. They were going to put this on It's basically a thruster that uses a magnetic nozzle and it heats hydrogen, and so it can work in a high performance, high specific impulse mode or a high thrust mode. And that was going to be fitted to the space station as late as 2015, and then the idea was dropped.
I think it's like a magneto something.
Yeah, what is the name? Anyway, the point was that was a thruster which they'd been working on the ground, and it needed so much power to test it. The only thing that could even get close would be the International Space Station, and even then they would need like a battery bank in between that and the thruster to deliver the megawatts of power they needed. And I think
we knew a company that had battery banks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe a rocket that could bring those up too.
It's called Vasimir. That's what it is. Variable Specific Impulse Magnetoplasmic Thruster or something like that. So the thing about that was there were detractors who basically said, well, it's not as good as a chemical thruster for thrust, and it's not as good as an ion thruster for efficiency. So why are we bothering with doing something that sort of does both things? Ultimately, it's not going to fly. I'm not sure what's going to happen to the technology, but yeah, it'd be nice to take the ISS up and put it much higher in space. I think that would be an easier route. It would require less mass being put into space.
That's a wonderful way of doing it too. I'd never considered sending the ISS into a higher orbit.
Well, basically, it buys you time to think of a better solution. It doesn't necessarily need to be maintained. I mean, you could actually have the ISS suddenly no longer be permanently inhabited and push it to a higher orbit, and then still use instruments and stuff mounted on it. At some point, the solar panels are going to start be too aged and need replaced, and then the onboard batteries similarly. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be nice. I think all these things, it would be nice to bring it back. The one that I want to bring back is Vanguard 1, the oldest satellite, the second American satellite, and it's still in space. Sputnik fell back.
What did Vanguard 1 do?
What did it do?
Yeah.
It was the second satellite launched by the US, and it's the oldest piece of hardware still in space, and it's the size of a CubeSat.
Oh wow!
Basically, back then they weren't going for a nice trimmed orbit, so they just let the engine burn until it ran out of propellant. So they ended up in this very highly eccentric orbit that goes like 5,000 kilometers out or something like that. This was, of course, the Navy rocket, right? Von Braun was told specifically not to launch to give the Navy a chance, and then their rocket failed, and then Von Braun, they launched, on a Juno, they launched Explorer 1. But, of course, Sputnik, in the meantime, beat America to space.
It actually was a legal, actually victory for everybody that they did it first, because we were wondering how would we deal with
overflight rules? Yes,
like overflight. That like everything was like up in the air, and then Russia did it, and they're like, well,
they've
I
set
guess
a precedent.
Anybody can do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm back, by the way.
Hello again.
So other pieces of space hardware which would be cool to bring back, Snoopy, if we could find Snoopy.
Remind us what
find it. We just need to re-find it again.
Well, we think we found it. Yeah, we're not sure. But Snoopy,
nobody's gotten to it yet.
Oh, it's the lander, isn't it?
It's the ascent stage from the lander. Yes.
Yes. Snoopy the lander.
By the way, Deo70 is saying, "Can we inform Scott Manley that users are recognizing his voice? So you don't need to inform me because I can read." Road is closed. I was pointing out that these the troopers that are blocking the roads, we should be calling them Starship Troopers.
Oh yeah. Just wait for the bugs.
Well, in Texas they have Rangers, so
Space Rangers.
Exactly.
Star Rangers. Wait, I think Star Rangers is a video game with one of the worst opening cinematics ever. It's hilariously awesome.
What about Power Rangers?
That would be the ones that deal with Solar City, right, Tesla?
Yeah, the starship turns into a giant Megazord.
Oh, Starship Transformer? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm talking about Power Rangers, as in the old thing where things would attach together.
Yeah, I'm
Almost.
trying to remember that.
Yeah, they had Megazords, and it would be like a big
Yeah.
robot thing, almost like Transformers, but with people inside.
Well, so the other day I was pointing out that once SpaceX gets multiple.
Typical English, they talk about everything else than what you can see, but there's also not much to be seen. The wings have been folded out and now, so that's finished. And they are closed, the road is clear, the path is clear. It's gonna have the fuel. But it will not be so quickly. I'm still doing all night again. Yeah. det må I lige undskylde, men der var lige en, der ringede, så det var det. Jeg kommer lige om tilbage i løbet af 10 minutter, hvad jeg tror. Jo. Det er meget. Ja. Jeg kommer lige tilbage. Et øjeblik.
Yep, gives them like an overview of the area. You can only go so high with drones before they've got like a quite a low roof height, haven't they? Some of them. So
Yeah.
it's the highest. I don't think you'd be able to get a drone 12 kilometers high without
I've
losing
seen
signal.
some amazing footage that were from drones, and I'm like, they were really dumb. Like, there's no way you should be putting your drone up that high. They basically put them up high enough that the batteries start failing on them, and the drone is like, okay, I'm coming down now, and it fails like halfway down. It just comes screaming down
Yeah.
at that point. But yeah, so that's why you don't do such a thing. Um, John
No.
Schaefer asks, how long does it take to fuel up from empty?
So we said from empty, it takes about 45 minutes from road closure if they're
Der er mange ingredienser her, man skal trykke på, og mange koder, man skal huske. Og her er vi nu. Hvad er det nu? Man portet. Første sæson. Vi er helt inde. Vi prøver at komme ind igen. Her. Hvor er... Man skal åbne for lyden. Hvor er den? Det er den. Nå, nu er der ingen lyd på. Det var der lige før. Og vi skal have tiden med. 12:39. Og hvorfor er der ingen lyd på? Er der nogen?
anti-slosh baffles and everything else. They're pretty simple. They're basically just a not a mesh, but they do have holes in it so it lets liquids through, but it slows it down and it runs into it, and it's kind of a repeating star shape that just kind of goes in and out as far as I could tell. But that was on a vehicle that
normal
pulled
pressure.
itself up. So, it kind of changes the form of things a little bit from what you're normally used to seeing. But yeah, they do have some slosh baffles in there, and they also will have some, unlike, let's say, super heavy, the stringers, but they don't do much on that side. It's just the vertical members. But they might attach the slosh baffles directly to those, so less welding directly onto the hull.
All right. Next question comes from Kelly Small. Why do they pressurize the ship before it is filled with liquid oxygen and liquid methane?
So they need to, yeah. So they do need to pressurize the ship for removing any contaminants that it has. So they do use nitrogen to remove the ambient air. So you want to make sure that there is no O2 inside the methane tank. So that's part of it, as well as just making sure that there is nothing in the lines or anything else. So they do line purges as well. They don't purge it directly into the ship. They purge each line, and they also purge it into the ship itself. They remove a lot of contaminants by doing just some simple venting through that part of the system. But the main part is just to remove oxygen from the environment on the methane tank. And then they also have pressurization normally is needed just to make sure that the ship stands upright properly when they're flying. Because if you, let's say, had just the fuel and it was atmospheric pressure going up, you can easily have the ship crumple in. So it's like a soda can. If you go through and step on a soda can that is not opened, it's just full of liquids and the contents, you won't be able to really crush it that easy. Do the same thing with a soda can that has, it's lid open and there's no contents inside. You'll be able to just crush it like a can. That's the same thing that will happen with Starship. So you have to have some pressure behind it, and they do up to 6 bar flight pressure. And then they've done tests to make sure that can go up to 8.5 bar for safety reasons. And so for SN8, we're pretty sure they've hit 6 bar. I'm not sure about something even close to 8 or 8.5, since there were some issues with its sibling, which was 7.1. They have a common 301 and 304 combination, which causes some issues with the welds. But it is a pretty robust vehicle, so it'll be able to handle those 6 bars flight pressure, doing the 12.5 kilometer as far as we know. Fingers crossed. But yeah, thank you, Callie.
I'm going to be right back myself. If another commentator wants to jump in, feel free.
This one's from Friday Ray, one of our longtime members. They would like to know who's working right now on the stream.
All right, Friday. So right now we have the Danks. We have a lot of other assistants as well. We just had Scotty. He needs to run real quick. Earlier we had Scott Manley, and then Lab himself. He's in here listening with us and can jump in at any time. But we also have the assistants Chuck. We've got Dave Avery. We just had Falcon earlier. Peach, R&D engineer. They're all helping get questions and the donations and the new members and bringing those, that information to us directly. And then we also have just a ton of mods. You can see them in the actual YouTube chat and Discord. So there's plenty of people helping out today.
This one's from Carl. Oh, sorry. This one's from Carl Furstenberg. I think this is in reference to yesterday. He wants to know, how many cops does it take to change a car tire?
One too many. A total of 5 apparently. So yesterday there was a police officer at the roadblock who had a flat tire, was having a hard time getting out of there, and it took 5 other officers to help him change his tire. So it was kind of one of these mad rushes of, well, do you want to be this close to a rocket launch where they're evacuating the area up to at least where Lab's at, up to the 3.8 kilometers? So apparently they were really rushed, and it took them quite a while. It was like 30 or 40 minutes to change a tire. it was kind of funny to watch. But thank you, Carl.
Well, speaking of cops at the roadblock, actually, the officer that was stationed there a short time ago has actually left, so they appear to be
Yes.
clearing out and getting to a safe distance away.
Yeah, someone actually told me that. I reckon they're going to be at the roadblock that is near where Lab is based, because I'm guessing they've got like maybe a double sort of roadblock, because they used to have the soft one, don't they? But they've moved it due to the size of the craft.
So Lab has said that there are police at the dirt road around where he's at. That's about the 3.8 miles from the starship, and that is the original roadblock that they had back in Hoppy's days. So that was kind of cool to learn. And they have the major roadblock for Highway 4. I believe they started that around like 10 around this morning. It seems like that's when they started clamping down on that, but maybe it was even earlier, unless we have any other good info that can tell us otherwise. But that seems to be when all the local traffic seemed to stop, and then
Yeah.
just traffic was leaving after that.
I think King Padre's here. His mic's unmuted, so you got some information, Lab?
Yeah. I was just gonna chime in about the roadblocks. They did, as you said, they moved the roadblock back to the original location from the Hoppy days, right here at the last road before you get to Stargate, which is about 2 miles from Stargate, and then about another 5 miles down the road, there is another roadblock, and then another 10 miles down the road, there is another roadblock. So they got things tightened up pretty tight down here. Earlier today, I wasn't feeling too confident that there wasn't any roadblocks at all when we rolled in this morning. Yesterday the roadblocks were up 2 hours before the roads were even scheduled to close. So you can understand why I wasn't feeling very confident this morning.
No, they've all
Yeah,
appeared.
that was one of those like gut feelings that I've have as well. Like when you don't see anything happening, you're like, oh, it's gonna be not the day. But then things
But
progressed.
we got the barbecue rolling over here, barbecue pit going. So I'm gonna be barbecuing up some crow, since
All
looks like it's
right.
gonna happen today after all.
Sweet. So hopefully there's no barbecuing occurring with the SN8. So there's often birds and other things, specifically crow, that like to fly around there too.
That's it.
But yeah, I'm still looking for the SpaceX live stream. I can't find anything, but if anybody does find the stream, send it our way. It's probably unlisted at this point. I would love to see that, just to confirm that everything is going in the direction we expect it to go. Right now we have about 35,000 people or more watching, and that's just pretty much on NerdleCam. And wow, it's shaping up to be very quick for as far as the events today, and we might even beat yesterday as far as time.
I don't.
Go on, sorry.
I don't understand why they're not publicizing their live stream like they did yesterday. I wonder if they don't intend on streaming this time, or.
Oh, we've got a good little stream here.
I think Scott Manley got it correct. Back during the Hoppy days, they did have a stream that popped up the day before. It scrubbed, and it was like all advertised, and the next day it was 5 minutes before. So it's like we're gonna have to really watch out for that one, because that's our 5 minute warning essentially, to say that we're about to do the hop here. So we're gonna really be keeping our eyes and ears open on that one.
All right. Next question from Keith Penny. How long has Scotty been awake?
I got up. If you really want to know, I got up at 6:40 this morning. So, and it's now 8. It's now 6:48 p.m. When I am.
Scotty, aren't you just feeling tired?
A little sleep.
Yeah.
No. Plenty of coffee.
I feel you. I definitely feel you. I got up at 5:30 this morning after doing it yesterday as well, so I'm running pretty ragged right now. But
I decided to sleep in 15 minutes past the beginning of the closure window, just because I knew that, yeah, they're not going to launch it in 15 minutes. I'll be safe. But yesterday they did pull a fast one on us, and they brought the closure window even forward more. So that was like, oh, so it's instead of 8 o'clock, I was supposed to wake up an hour earlier. Oh, oops. So yeah, it looks like the WB-57 is taking off at 4:30 p.m. today. So that's a little bit later. And that's the chase plane for NASA, I believe. Is that right, Danks?
It is.
It was right, but it turns out someone sent me the incorrect information. It's still scheduled for 2:30 p.m. So I just got
2:30.
told the wrong
Okay,
Oh,
the wrong time. Okay, so it's still 2:30.
about that.
Oh, that's good to see, because I was thinking, oh, that's even delaying it more.
it's a massive. Just keep delaying it until I'm in bed. Why not? As usual. So let's have
No,
a look at the other
this one's not a
question.
delay. This is still on track. We're still good to go. Yeah, what's the
Yeah.
next question we've got here?
Uh, the next one's from Donald R. Nordley. They ask, what direction is the Nerdle camera facing?
So Lab, did you catch that one? Oh, Lab just disappeared. Sorry, but yeah, so it is facing east towards the Gulf. So the Gulf of Mexico is just to the east, and then to the right of the screen is south. That is going to be Mexico. We are about 3 miles or 2.8 miles, depending on which part of Mexico you're getting to, but it's really close. It's just along the Rio Grande River, and so there is, basically the directions for that one is, you know, going to be east. The Sapphire camera, if you look at that one is the one pointing south into Mexico. The first large string of water that you can see that continues all the way through, that is the Rio Grande River. So beyond that is Mexico. For all the rest of the cameras you can see, like Sentinel Cam, that will be pointing towards the west, a little bit south, but mostly west. And then we have like the shipyard. If you ever see that area, that's just west by a little bit south, but not too far.
And because of how the camera faces, you get some awesome sunrises. If you're ever watching the stream at like 6 a.m. ish local time, it's almost like a view out of Star Wars. Like you want to just start, Tatooine sort of theme. It's really nice screenshots if you ever catch it.
Yeah, and
Some
then Sentinel Cam sunsets are the best. I put screenshots in the wallpaper section on Discord all the time, just so that people can have nice background photos of the factory, of sunset, or actually sunsets, and even like sunrises or moonrises, things as well like that. So check that out.
let's have a look. See
All right.
what we got next.
From N0UKF, is the camper seen at the tower site Labs or someone else's?
Somebody else's.
Someone else's.
it's the not it's our not our what did Labs how did Lab put
said,
it?
Lab put it this way, that he was working on the tower and the police came by and told him that he needs to move his RV, and he's like, it's not mine, but you need to move it. But it's not mine, it's my neighbor's. So the neighbor got stuck in the mud, and so they're still working on getting it moved. I don't think they've got it moved quite yet. So there is still just an RV. You'll see it potentially again in the shots from SpaceX. We saw it yesterday. Hopefully we'll see shots of the camper and Labs Tower again today. That's kind of a fun little, there's Labs Tower. It's basically in that same shot as the RV that you can see. But yeah, that is quite a interesting goof there. All right, yeah, so thank you for that.
From Y Wayne, I've got a question. Is there any danger to all the birds or wildlife in the exclusion zone with all the sound and pressure shockwaves?
There's always sort of a risk, but it's probably minimal. They tend to probably get out the way. when they hear the noise. Like, I don't think they would physically hit a bird, but if something was to explode and you had something close, there's always some kind of risk. But does anyone else want to fill in on that? I think it's sort of negligible, but
Yeah. So SN4, we had seen a larger bird like a crow or even larger fly into the flames of a static fire. Instead of going away, it went into it. The poor bird didn't make it. That does happen even with NASA shuttle launches. They go through and try to scare away the local wildlife, and like there'll be a bat that holds on. They think, oh yeah, it'll fly away, and nope, it doesn't. So yeah, they actually can move faster as far as acceleration than a rocket. The rocket has fully fueled down, and it does take a little bit of time for it to lift off. So birds and insects are actually able to get away from a rocket faster than the rocket can go. But yeah, if they stick around too long, it is a slight issue. I have heard in the past SpaceX and other flight launch facilities put off a siren. It will scare away some animals and critters. We did see one system for that a while back, but it might have just been a demo system that SpaceX was being demonstrated a system. So we haven't seen it around for a while, but they do have just the loudspeakers around on site to basically make the hawk sounds or other sounds to scare away little animals that shouldn't be nearby.
yeah, I think it was a French Guiana launch where we ended up seeing a frog getting blown away by the shockwave. You know, as the launch, the frog survived. But there's a photo of a frog in the air. I was like, he's for free ride.
Yeah, there was
I
a
can't remember which
space
one.
shuttle launch with a bat attached to the rocket. They thought, oh yeah, it'll let go and fly away, but they suspected it actually was already injured, and that it was just looking for a place to hold on to, and it just didn't let go for a good while.
Oh, poor thing. I keep seeing Wakefield in chat. People are stalking me.
All right,
That's
so
where...
what's the next question we have here?
From N8HSU, could they legally declare the US modules of the ISS a national historical landmark?
Well, it's not really a landmark, is it? It's because it's not a stationary thing. Like, the legality of it, I don't know.
No, they can't. So here's the
No,
thing: is
I don't
that
think so.
legally, international space is international, like international waters. You can't declare territory that's in international waters yours. So that same thing applies there. So a national historical landmark is a U.S. law that applies to U.S. territories and the properties. Let's say you go to a like a consulate or something like that. You can't just say that's a historical landmark and that you can't take that down. I mean, you could try, but in fact, it's going to be a lot harder to do that because that is sovereign territory that you're basically invited guests that have legal agreements. So you can't do anything like that, unfortunately. You could go through and say that the ISS should be saved and Starship should help save it. That's my opinion on that.
Real quick, guys, I'm not sure if y'all heard the update or not. Did y'all get the new update about the NASA plane?
2:30 p.m.
2:30 is when they'll be launching. I guess they actually got delayed, turned around, and went back.
So I thought they were.
So the actual craft.
That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that the craft actually diverted back and is waiting to launch at 2:30. So we're looking at 3:15 as the earliest for launch.
All right, so that's another 2 hours and 15 minutes, approximately, or 17 minutes. But who's counting?
Of course, I haven't confirmed this yet. I'm just giving y'all updates that I'm hearing through the grapevine. If somebody wants to check out and make sure that it has diverted back.
Hear it on the grapevine.
And also, while we're at it, I want to give a special shout out to all our promotional consideration out here on South Padre Island. First and foremost, the Isla Grande Isla Grande Beach Resort, Sapphire Condominiums, Pearl SPI, Orbital Media Networks, and of course, the city of South Padre Island. They've done a whole lot to help us out and keeping these cameras up 24/7. We love them and appreciate everything they do for us. Thank you all.
In the same line of thought, there is
Ugh.
quite a few people who have donated here. I'm going to go through and just list them off and
Oh,
thank them each.
real quick. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Thomas. I keep forgetting, and I gotta quit forgetting. Init Weather. You know, they're the ones that are providing us with our live weather feed from our tower out here. For anybody that wants to go check out our live weather station, it's weather.labpadre.com. All right, have at it, Thomas.
All right, thank you. So on the list here we have, oh, I have to go back to the list. We have Lenark, who donated 59 Swedish krona. Thank you for that. That is a great contribution. Grant 2053 donated $5. Says Scott Seption, haha, can Manley give S8 his best fly safe? And he did. So thank you for that, Scott Manley. Maximilian Feel donated 10 euros. He says, Felix sent me here. Thank you guys for your effort and the coverage of the launch. You guys are awesome. Cheers from Austria. Ryan Holtz donated 100 Swedish krona and says, excitement and hype from Sweden have roughly 10 bucks or pounds rounded appropriately. Aussie Bloke 0001 donated 5 Australian dollars and says, Scotty, get off the mic and go to bed now!
Every time, no!
Randy Abel, $10. Neural Cam, best cam. Psychotic Wolfie, $50 says, hey Scott Manley, glad to see you're here for the streams. You stick around until the hop. Also, SN8, you can do it. Thank you for that, Scott Wolfie. Bennett ST Gene donated 5 Canadian dollars. I think the flaps move slow because they need to be calibrated. Find the 0 point. And yeah, that's about right. They do need to confirm. They have probably different ways of doing it. But yeah, they do need to go from 0 to the fully extended as they are now. Alan Lamb donated 5 euros, and variable specific impulse magnetoplasma rocket, and that was the information that Scott and I could not remember at all. Thank you. So Eric West donated $2 and says flaps extended. Patricia, remember the accidental live stream, donated 45 Danish krone. Bring back the red car Elon sent up. Stan Von Miller donated $15. Okay, so it's super cool that Scott Manley is here, but best live stream out of all of them. Thank you for that, Stan. Lauren Kimball donated $5. How is it that your footage is so much better than others? Is it the equipment, location, magic? Yes, and definitely magic. Jerry Morris donated $50. Thank you for that. Definitely ask us a question, Jerry. Taylor Van Camp says, hello everyone, glad to join the family today. I hope everything is going well. Let's light this candle. Bob Jotman donated $10. Thanks for all you do, keeping the cameras up for filming it for us. And Robert Wathorn, Paul. Okay, so the next names here are the newest members: Robert Wathorn, Paula Booth, Rick Harsey, Steve Brad, Robert Wool. Thank you and welcome to the Green Team and members of Lab Padre, and thank you for everybody who's donated. Your support helps keep the stream going and keeping the cameras operating. So thank you so much for that. Let me see if there's a couple of more. Yes, we do have Randy Teeking donated $5. Thank you for that. All right, so let's go back ahead and get back to some more questions here. And if there's any other outstanding news, like aircraft changing flights or anything like that so far.
Go, sorry?
All right. Yeah, no, so I just was wondering if there's any new aircraft flight details or any other outstanding things that we need to know about.
Not that I'm aware of, unless we've got any more grapevine news. We'll get an idea. There is a police car thing at the Sentinel roadblock now. He just pulled up while you was talking, so there is someone stationed there now.
Okay, so that's different.
Yeah, that's an interesting
So
change.
yeah, it's looks like a Tesla vehicle.
Yeah, it doesn't have its lights on though. I can't quite tell. I don't think it has its lights on, but it's definitely parked there.
Yeah, he's probably just confirming that nobody comes up that road that isn't supposed to. There shouldn't be any way that people come up that road, but that's the last car probably that's going to be leaving here shortly before the actual hop takes place. Right now, that's the safe distance for the vehicle while it's on the ground, but when it's in the air, yeah, you do need to move off out of the way just in case something goes wrong.
It's like people like worry about. Imagine there was that launch, wasn't there, where loads of cars got burned because of the way the thing came down, and that's why they moved the cars really far away. Because imagine something goes really badly wrong with the test vehicle, and you've got equipment and cars nearby. It's not gonna do very well.
No, it's not. We've seen with other tests in the past where, like, so for instance, SN4, it went off and there was a lot of boom lifts in the area. They had actually damage to them just from the shockwave alone. Electronics were damaged.
Yeah, and we also had a lot of debris. Was it from one of them?
On SN4, yeah.
Yeah, SM4. A lot of sort of was it a catwalk thing flew up in the air like a big chunk of wood where
It was either
went
wood
flying
or
on the
metal.
old
That was the
fence.
Yeah, that was the weird part. Was we can't figure out which one that is because there shouldn't be wood up there. They had some wood for just the scaffolding, but yeah,
Yeah.
needs to be safed. And yes, kind of speaking of which, the safety question has come up for Mexico. Is there any border wall or anything like that between South Padre and the U.S. and Mexico? From Bill Shorten asked that question, and it kind of relates to safety as well as just anything like that. And the answer is no, Bill. There is not a wall. There is a river, and that is kind of hard to get through. Typically, there are people who do make the swim across, but it isn't typically very safe, especially if you're a terrible swimmer. Um, Next question we have is from David Shelton. Do you think just satellite junk removal is a lucrative business? So what do you say, Scotty?
I would say yes, because if if you do it enough, there's going to be a lot of precious metals, and particularly if you have the resources to do it in orbit, and then you can then either reuse parts or as you say, melt down the metal that exists. You could somehow maybe return that to Earth in capsules, or you could even just, as I say, make more satellites in space. Imagine being able to say make the Hubble Space Telescope in space. You'd save so much money, and it would kind of like snowball, because from there you can also look into mining asteroids, and then the solar system's your oyster.
So yeah, the other part of that is that you can go through, as you said, meltings down. That would be the very lucrative area. But one thing I mentioned to Scott, and he would love to have like the Hubble telescope brought down on Starship, which when basically the Hubble's retired, Starship bringing it down would be extremely lucrative. Any museum would pay a lot of money to have
Okay,
that.
I'm back again.
Basically in their museum, and you can go from one museum to another to another.
anywhere.
Basically, they do some financial transactions for stuff like that to keep some of the
I
most
think I
amazing
will-
history in the world
Sorry about it.
alive and shown off to
Take off
everybody.
this one
Same thing could be said.
and let's look at somebody else. Det starter 85, det er sagt hele tiden. 21:35. Så jeg tror, jeg vil lave det her. 1 time og 4 minutter. Så vi går lige ind og sætter her. Ja. Går lige ind og kigger her. Og her opslag. Okay. Toogfirs minutter. Her er vi fået gang. Ja, vi kan gå ind på livestreamen, og så stopper vi den. Afslut.